Good morning, students. In this video, I shall discuss the excretion in human being. How this excretion process occurs in the human body. As we know, the human beings, these are ureotelic organisms. These are ureotelic in nature. Ureotelic means they normally excrete the urea as the nitrogenous waste material. So that is why they are called ureotelic animals. Now, we shall study in two parts. First one, we shall study the excretory system in case of human being. As the human beings are the most developed animal in the earth, that is why they have the complex excretory system in comparison to the other animals. Now we shall study the excretory system first, then we shall study the mechanism of excretion. That means how the urea or the excretory materials or the toxic material or the waste materials are actually excreted from the body of the human being. Now first we shall discuss the excretory system. Then what is this excretory system? The organs which are involved in the process of excretion collectively known as the excretory system. Now, this excretory system consists of the pair of kidneys. This is the left kidney and this is the right kidney. And there are two kidneys, and these kidneys are present inside the abdominal cavity on either side of the vertebral column. Normally, the vertebral column is present at the center. On either side, these two kidneys are there. And this left kidney is slightly above the right kidney. And the shape is just like the bean. It is the bean-shaped structure. And normally the length of the kidneys are around 5 to 7 centimeters. The length is around 5 to 7 centimeters and the width is around 2 to 3 centimeters. So that is why this is the normal structure of the kidney, and the weight is around 150 grams. Each kidney, it weighs about 150 grams. So this kidney, which helps in the filtration of the excretory waste like urea and other waste from the blood, and they are removed from the body in the form of the urine. Now, another important organ which helps in the process, that is called the ureter. These are the two ureters. This is one ureter and this is another ureter. These two ureters, they normally collect the urine from the kidney and they pass the urine to the next part of the alimentary canal, that is called the urinary bladder. So this urinary bladder, it is a sac-like structure where the urine is stored for some time and periodically they are removed from the body through the opening that is called the urethra. So that is why these are the four important parts of the excretory system of human being. First, a pair of kidneys, then second, a pair of ureters which are coming down from the both the kidneys, and the urinary bladder. Lastly, the urethra. So, we have already studied the excretory system in our junior classes, but now we shall study the detailed structure of the most important part, that is the kidney. Now, these are the blood vessels, the renal artery, which supply the blood to the kidney for filtration to both the kidneys, and this is the renal vein, and this renal vein which collects the blood from the kidney and they pass them to the heart again. So that is why these are the important vessels, which are the main important vessels which normally supply the blood. This is the renal artery, and the renal vein collects the blood from the kidney. Now this is the structure of the kidney. This kidney, it is the bean-shaped structure, and normally it is helpful for the filtration of the blood. Now the blood enters into the kidney through the renal artery, and when the renal artery supplies the blood, it carries the urea, the most important waste, which is produced inside the liver, and from the liver it is transported to the kidney through the renal artery, and after that it enters into the nephron. The structure of the nephron we shall study in detail. This is the Bowman's capsule, and inside this the glomerulus is there. So blood enters here and filtration process occurs here. So this outer part, that is called the cortex of the kidney. And in the cortex there are millions of nephrons are present, and each nephron they help in the filtration of the blood and remove the waste products like urea and other waste. Now they are after filtration form the urine and pass them to the collecting tube. Now here the cup-like structure where the filtration occurs, that is the Bowman's capsule. Then inside the Bowman's capsule the glomerulus is there where this filtration occurs. That is why this filtration process is also called the glomerular filtration. Now this nephron they actually filters the blood, and after the filtration the yellow color urine is passed to the collecting duct, and number of collecting ducts they fuse together to form the ureter, and one ureter it passes the urine which is formed there inside the kidney. So that is why this is the structure of the kidney, that the inner part that is the medulla, the outer part that is the cortex, and the inner part that is the medulla, this is the hilum. So these are the different parts of the kidney, and now the renal artery supplies the blood, and renal vein collects the blood from the kidney and supply them to the heart. Now after that the most important structure, that is the unit of filtration or unit of excision. The unit of excision is called the nephron. Now what is a nephron and how it helps in the filtration of the blood and remove the waste product from the body. Now this is the first part of the nephron, and this first part called the Bowman's capsule. This capsule, the cup-like structure, look at here, this is the cup-like structure, and this cup-like structure is called the Bowman's capsule. It is having the membrane, there is the endothelium, and this membrane, it is the thin membrane where the filtration occurs from the blood capillary. Now, if the artery which supplies the blood to the Bowman's capsule, that is the efferent artery, and the diameter is the larger than the efferent one, and after that the blood when enter into the glomerulus, then it again comes out here, and after the filtration process occurs here, and this artery through which the blood comes out, that is called the efferent artery. And after that this blood passes to this area, and this is the capillary network which normally just roll round the duct system. Then this duct system, this is the proximal convoluted tubule. Then this proximal convoluted tubule, which is present in the upper part, and then the loop-like structure, that is called the loop of Henle, and after that the DCT or the distal convoluted tubule. And when the filtration occurs, a large amount of filtration is actually formed here, but the essential materials again reabsorbed into the blood capillary. These blood capillaries are called the vasa recta, and this vasa recta they normally help in the reabsorption of the essential materials from the blood. Now after that the urine is formed here, and thus urine passes to the collecting duct, and from the collecting duct the number of collecting ducts are fused together to form the ureter, and through the ureter they go to the outside. So this is the structure of a nephron, or it is also called the uriniferous tubule. This is called uriniferous tubule, and normally it helps in the filtration of the blood here. So that is why this structure, it is very much important for the examination point of view, because sometimes it asks to draw the structure of the nephron. You have to label this Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, efferent arteriole, then the proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting duct. So all these things you have to label properly. So this is the structure of the nephron or the uriniferous tubule. And now these are the important parts of the excretory system. After that, we shall discuss in detail how the process of excretion occurs in case of human being. Now, I shall discuss the mechanism of excretion, or simply we can say the mechanism of urine formation. How the urine formation occurs in case of human being. Normally, the most important waste product, that is the urea, and this urea which is normally produced there or prepared there inside the liver. Urea is normally formed inside the liver, and from the liver they are transported to the kidney through the blood. They enter into the blood circulation, and through the blood they reach to the kidney through the renal artery. So this renal artery which carries the blood to the kidney, this is called afferent artery, and this afferent artery which normally supplies the blood to the Bowman's capsule. This is the cup-like structure, and it is the anterior most part of the uriniferous tubule. Okay. Then here actually the filtration of the blood occurs, and the waste materials are normally excreted out. Now, this mechanism of excretion, it normally completes in three important phases. The first one, that is the ultrafiltration. And what do you mean by ultrafiltration? The normal, in case of normal filtration, it occurs in normal atmospheric pressure. But in case of this filtration, this is called ultrafiltration because the filtration which occurs under pressure. Then from where this pressure is created here, when the blood enters into the glomerulus, this is called the glomerulus, and when the blood enters into the glomerulus, these are the blood capillaries or glomerular capillaries are there, and the diameter of the afferent artery is larger than the diameter of the efferent artery. This is the efferent artery, and this diameter is smaller, so that is why the large amount of blood is entering into the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus, and the less amount of blood is coming out. So that is why, due to the presence of extra blood here, always the pressure is created here, and due to this pressure the filtration occurs. And during filtration, some important molecules also filter there along with the waste product like your urea and uric acid. Normally the urea and the uric acid, these are the important waste, but along with this there are so many other molecules like your water molecule and glucose molecule, amino acid, which are smaller in size, and there are so many ions like sodium ion, potassium ion, chloride ion, etc. and some salt. They are also filtered here. So that is why the filtration rate is around, it is called the glomerular filtration rate, GFR. It is the glomerular filtration rate, and this glomerular filtration rate, it is around 125 ml per minute. Now, in 24 hours, normally 180 liter of filtrate, 180 liter of filtrate are formed in 24 hours. So, when the blood is circulating through the kidney, 180 liters of filtrate is formed. But how much amount of urine is actually produced? Urine is produced only 1.5 liter in 24 hours. Then, where the rest 178.5 liter of filtrate, they are reabsorbed into the blood again. So this process is called selective reabsorption. Now, the first one, due to this pressure, the filtration rate is very fast, and after the filtration, the water, glucose, amino acid, urea, and then the so many ions and the salts, uric acid, etc. They are normally filtered here. After the filtration, they pass to the proximal convoluted tubule or PCT, and when they pass here, normally the reabsorption of the essential materials occurs, enter into the blood circulation, or that is the blood capillary, that is the vasa recta. Now, the water molecule is essential for our body, that is why they reabsorb. then the glucose, amino acid, the iron, they are reabsorbed except the toxic waste. So that process of reabsorption of the essential molecules into the blood, again, this is called selective reabsorption. It is not freely reabsorbed, but when they passes through the descending loop of Henle and ascending loop of Henle, different molecules, they are reabsorbed into the blood. And when it finally enters into the distal convoluted tubule, actually the amount of urine is very much concentrated here. So only 1.5 liter of urine is formed here. The rest water reabsorbed into the blood. So that is why it takes around 4 to 5 minutes to filter all the entire blood of our body. So whatever blood which are present in our body, within 4 to 5 minutes, the whole blood, they circulate through the kidneys or through both the kidneys. So that is why they are cleaned or they are normally filtered here. Now after that, in the last part, then the distal convoluted tubule, the water is reabsorbed into the blood again as per our requirement, because if more water is there in the blood, then the dilute urine is normally formed. So when we are drinking more water or during rainy season, the urine is dilute. But in case of summer season, we drink less water or the water requirement is more. So that is why our body does not allow to leave the water from the body in the form of urine. So that is why during summer, then we release the concentrated urine. So that is why the concentration of the urine, it is maintained by the DCT or distal convoluted tubule, and if the water is sufficient in our body, then only it discharges the water along with the urine. Otherwise, it does not allow. So that is why the ADH hormone which regulates this process, the feedback mechanism is there. So we inform this message and automatically the water is reabsorbed here. Now, if some other waste materials which are present there in and around the kidney, they are normally again secreted into the last part of this tubule, that is the collecting tubule. So that is called the tubular secretion. So by this method, the waste products or the nitrogenous waste particularly, they are normally discharged from the body by the formation of the urine. So that is why this process is called urine formation, and the concentration of the urine is always maintained. So that is why this is called a counter current balance mechanism. This is the counter current balance mechanism, and by this method normally the concentration of the urine or osmotic pressure of the urine is maintained and it is discharged from the body of the human being. And normally around 1.5 liter of urine is formed in 24 hours, and we discharge them periodically to the outside through the urethra. And the process of removal of this waste product or the urine from the body, that process is called mixturation. And this mixturation. And the mixturation is a process by which we release the urine or discharge the urine to the outside. So it is sometimes voluntary in nature. That means when we want to discharge the urine, we can discharge it because the urethra is regulated by the sphincter muscle, and we relax the sphincter muscles and we release the urine or we discharge the urine. But sometimes it is involuntary. When it becomes involuntary, if the urinary bladder is completely filled up, then automatically the urine is discharged. So that is called your involuntary process. That is why sometimes it is asked that how the mixturation process is involuntary as well as voluntary in nature. Now after that we shall discuss about the failure of kidney and the different process by which normally we help the human being to survive without the kidney. So that is the first important thing, that is called the dialysis. So when the failure of the kidneys occur. So at the time we remove the blood from the body to the outside and we go for dialysis. Then what is this dialysis? The blood is taken to the outside. After that it is filtered by a machine. So this machine is called a dialyzer. It is the dialyzer, or sometimes it is called the artificial kidney. Artificial kidney. And this machine actually filters the blood and the waste materials are removed from the blood. After that, after the filtration, the blood again returns back to the body of the human being. This is the human body. So that is why they are taken out for dialysis and it is filtered in the machine. After that, the clean blood is normally returned back to the human body. And this process is called dialysis. And this dialysis is done periodically. Sometimes if the formation of this waste product is more, then we have to discharge them periodically. So that is why dialysis is done for those patients whose kidneys are failure. But sometimes what happens, if any donor is available, sometimes what happens, the kidney can be donated to a person who has both the kidneys become failed. So that is why the donor, they donate the blood, donate the kidney to the patient, and that is process is called a transplantation. By the process of transplantation, the kidney of the donor is normally, it is transplanted in the body of the patient or recipient, and after that the kidney functions just like your normal kidney. So this kidney transplantation, it is a costly process, but as it is the paired organ, so that is why one kidney can be donated by the one healthy person, and he or she can survive with one kidney. So that is why it is legally approved for the transplantation process. But sometimes this process becomes failed due to the rejection of the organ. So that is why it is a risky process, no doubt, but till then we can go for transplantation sometimes. So that is why this is the method by which we can help a person having both the kidneys failed. But the dialysis and the transplantation, these are the methods which are normally adopted nowadays by the medical practitioners. Now, this much for the day. I hope this video will be useful for you, and if it is really useful for you, then please like it and subscribe for further videos. Thank you very much.